Welcome to your video test on algebraic expansions. This is a practice, and if you pause the presentation like it is now and do the problems on screen, then go through until you've completed all the problems, then pause the presentation finally and check your work, and then roll the video. You'll watch me go back over each of the problems, and you can mark your work, see how it's done, and see how marks are allocated. So let's get going now. So pause the presentation here and have a go at these 5, and I'll move on then to the next question. So come down and to question 2. This is an expand and simplify, so you need to expand the brackets and then collect the terms up. There's question 2 and question 3 of A and B, and there's some more coming up down below, and C and D. And the final one, to see how good you are, is question 4, without using working steps. Do you know these patterns off by heart? Can you write down the expansions? And then the last 2 parts of this practice test. Okay, total of 29 marks, I think. So pause the presentation and check your work, and then go back up and let's have a look at the answers now. Okay, so as you can see here, this is for 7, 8 and 9 up here. Year 7 and 8 answer questions 1 and 2. Year 9 answer all the questions. So you put the name on the paper here. Okay, here goes Huddy. Let's have a look. Okay, expand the following. So in an expansion, it means 4 lots of x plus 2. So 4 lots of x plus 2 is 4 lots of x. This is the distributive law. Plus 4 lots of 2 is 8. So for this one, there's only 1 mark for that. Okay. In the next one, neg 2 lots of x take 2 is equal to neg 2 times x is neg 2x. Okay, so there's only 1 mark for that. All right, over here, our x by x plus 2. And with that, it's going to equal x by x is x squared. And then x by positive 2 is positive 2x. Okay, so there's 1 mark for that as well. So how did you go? Did you do well there? So might come down screen a bit here and have a go. There we are. All right, so neg 2x times x take 3. So neg 2x times x is equal to neg 2x times x is x squared. Then neg 2x times neg 3. Negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 2 is 6, with x remaining unchanged there. Okay, so there's 2 marks there for this one, because it's getting a bit harder with x squared. So 1, 2 marks. And over here, with neg 3x by 2 take x, it's neg 3x times 2. Negative times positive is a negative 6x, so this equals neg 6x, and neg 3x times neg x. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 remains unchanged, but x by x is x squared. So again, you've got some positive and negative rules and the x squared business going on there. So there are 2 marks there. All right, so how are you going? Hope you're getting some of these. And let's go down and have a look at question 2. In question 2, again, there's some expansions, but we have to also simplify what's going on there as well. So let's have a look at those then. X by x is equal to x squared. X by neg 2, neg 2x. And then plus 3 by x is positive 3x. And then 3 by 2 is plus 6. So let's collect up the terms that are like each other. There's only one x squared term, so there it is. Neg 2x plus 3x would be positive 1x, and we don't write the 1, plus 6. So just check that number line stuff there. We're going neg 2x, whatever x is, let's take it as positive. We're going neg 2x plus 3x would leave you over on the right-hand side of 0 at 1x. That's how it all works, if you remember. So it's 3 marks for that. 1 for the first bracket, 1 for the second bracket, and 1 for tidying up. Okay, let's look at the next problem. 2x by 1 is 2x. 2x by neg 3x, positive times negative is a negative. 3 by 2 is 6. X by x is x squared. So you can see they're getting harder. And then neg x by x is neg x squared. And neg x times 2, negative by times a positive is a negative 2x. Okay, so let's collect them up now. So how many x squares? Let's start with the x squareds. Neg 6x squared. Take another x squared is down the left-hand side of the number line. Neg 7 lots of x squared. Just remember, x squared means 1x squared. We don't write the 1 in front. 2x minus 2x is no x. So it's just that form there. All right, so there's 1 mark for these first 2 terms, 1 mark for the second 2, and 1 mark for the simplification, making it out of 6. How did you go there? Hope you're getting a few right. If you're not, you've got to go back and just do some more practice exercises, but watching the way in which I'm doing these now. Okay, so in question 3, expand and simplify. So we're going into the year 9 stuff now. So let's have a look now at what we do here. It's the rule of FOIL, firsts, outers, inners, and lasts. Okay, so it means everything in the first bracket being times by everything in the second. The first, so here we go, x by x is x squared, x by 3 is plus 3x. I'm going to do it that way, rather than first outers, inners, last. But here we go, then 2 by x is plus 2x, and then 2 by 3 is plus 6. 6. All right, so let's look at what that comes to now. So there's 1 mark for that whole expansion, and then 1 mark for collecting the terms up. So that's x squared, and then 3x plus 2x is plus 5x, and then we got the 6 on the end, plus 6. Okay, so how'd you go with that one? Quite clearly there that we need to be careful with the expansion. We've got 1 mark for the first part and 1 mark for collecting up the terms in the second part. Let's have a look at the next one. So same thing, it's x by x, so that equals x squared, and then x by 2 is plus 2x. Okay, and then neg 3 by x is neg 3x, and neg 3 by 2, negative times positive is neg 6. There's 1 mark for getting those terms, and then collecting them up, there's only 1x squared, and then 2x, take 3x, is neg x, right? And neg 6 down the end. All right, so, and 1 for that simplification. All right, so how's it going? There's 4 marks there, and a bit more of this coming up, and then the ones that you're supposed to know off by heart sort of thing. Okay, so let's have a look at this next question now. So 2x by x is 2x squared. We'll put equal sign there. And then 2x by neg 5 is positive times negative is neg 10x. And then 1 by x is plus 1x. And then 1 by neg 5, positive times negative is a negative, is neg 5. Okay, so let's collect up the terms now. The x squared term, 2x squared, and bringing these two terms together, neg 10x, and then plus 1x back towards 0 makes it at neg 9x, and take 5. Okay, so there's our answer. Mark scheme, 1 for getting each of the terms correct there, and 1 for collecting them up. Let's have a look at this little dude over here. This is equal to, let's have a look, 2x by 3x. Oh, that's 6 and x squared, x by x. Then 2x by neg 2 is neg 4x. And then neg 3 by 3x is neg 9x. And neg 3 by neg 2, negative. So that equals, what? We've got our x squared term, 6x squared. And then our neg 4x take 9x, which is neg 13x, all going left down the number line. And then we have our positive 6 at the end. Okay, so there's that one. So what have we got here? We've got 1 mark for that expansion and 1 mark for the simplification, making a total again of 4 for those two parts. Okay, so the next ones follow patterns, if you remember from what you've learned. These are certain expansions which are of a certain pattern here. So what is the pattern of this one? Let's have a look. This is of the form a term plus another times the same term minus another. Oh, it's actually called the difference of two squares. So because it's that pattern, you're supposed to be able to spot it and write the answer straight down. The first one squared minus the second one squared. Oops, hang on, I already squared it. 2 squared. Maybe I should put that in. X squared minus 2 squared, which is x squared minus 4. Okay, because this comes to a squared take b squared, doesn't it? Difference of 2 squares. Do you remember that? You've done a few practice ones there. And when you see that pattern, the middle terms in the expansion cancel each other out. You get that. All right, so there's 2 marks for that. If you went straight there with no working, that's what you're supposed to do, you get 2 marks for that. Okay. So 2 brackets, which are the same, aren't they? And so it's what's called a perfect square. A plus b by a plus b comes to the first one squared plus twice the product plus the second one squared. Okay, so you're supposed to be able to write that straight down. So it's x squared, that's the first one squared, the product is 2x, so twice the product is 4x, plus the second one squared, which is 2 squared, or 4. And that's because the middle terms, when you expand these, are both the same, so they don't cancel out. You actually get 2 of them. Okay, so there's 2 marks for that one, and there's supposed to be 2 marks for this one over here as well. So making a total of 4, but you're not supposed to show the working. No working there, just write the answer straight down. Were you good enough to do that? Okay, so let's have a look at these. 2p take 3, 2p plus 3. That's the same pattern, isn't it? The first terms are the same, with opposite, and the second terms are the same, with opposite signs in between them. So that's going to give us a difference of 2 squares. So writing it down, it's the first one all squared minus the second one squared. So 2p all squared is 4p squared, minus 3 squared is 9. Okay, so there'd be 1 for that, and if you got the answer straight up, 1 for that, or 2 for the answer straight up, because you should be able to square those 2 in your head. Now let's look at this one. This is a harder perfect square one now. So the rule there is it's the first term squared, and then plus twice the product. But the product here is neg 3 times 2x, which is neg 6x, and twice it is neg 12x. So just remember, if you've got twice the product, it might be that that product is negative. So this would be a negative in here, because both the terms would add up and go more negative down the left from the origin on the number line. And neg 3 squared, now just remember here it is, it's neg 3, but you square that second term, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So it would be like this. Okay, so 1 mark for that. But the simplification then for the complete answer is 4x squared, squaring the 2 inside that bracket, minus 12x, and this is a negative times a negative is a positive, so it's plus 9. So always with perfect squares, you're going to end with a positive there, aren't you? Because any number squared is a positive. A negative times negative is a positive. Okay, so here we go. What's that? That's another mark there. So the idea then is to have, what, a total of 4 there. Okay, so how did you go overall? Did you do well out of 29? If you're not sure, go back over and watch me do it all again, and just to make sure it's all good. All right, I hope you do well in the actual test. Cheers for now.